The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
And a good Tuesday morning to you, one and all. Welcome aboard. It is Tuesday, July number 18 in the year of our Lord 2017. Welcome. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number this morning as we get off to a roaring start, you could say. I did not pay attention to any of the news yesterday. I just wanted to see what life would be like if I was basically one of the average folks out there. It's been a long time since I haven't paid attention to anything. And without being on vacation or anything. Even on vacation, you kind of sort of, because you're talking to other people and, you know, they hear things and want to talk about things. But yesterday after the program, pretty much I didn't even get on social media at all. Just wanted to see what it would be like to be one of the people who they come home from work, they sit down in front of the boob tube. And for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda, that's television. And they just sort of let their cares go into the television and live their lives vicariously through these soap opera type stars on the television. Well, I mean, I didn't do that particularly, but I did watch a little bit of TV, more than I normally do. Just an experiment for a day to see what it was like. I gotta tell you, I was not happy about it. I don't know how people can do it. To be uninformed for an entire day. And I did this because it was on a dare. It was on a bet during my mini vacation. Somebody told me, they said, I bet you couldn't go an entire day, you know, after work without paying attention to anything. I said, well, I'm doing it now, vacation, because that doesn't count. You're with a bunch of people, vacation, you know, everybody does that. It doesn't matter who you are. Everybody's on vacation, they do that. But regularly speaking, during the day, I bet you can't do like a lot of people do after their work day is done. But my work day is never done. He said, that's the problem with you. You think everything is work. Well, it's not work for me. It's kind of the fun and play. He says, I bet you cannot get done with your program, do everything that you have to do in the next couple of hours that's post-production, and then not pay attention the entire rest of the day like everybody else. So I bet you I could do that, and I'd be happy to do it. So I tried it yesterday, and I was not happy about it. So he's right. I can't. So I won't be doing that today. Well, I mean, sometimes it's good to unplug, but when you don't know what's going on, I can see when I woke up this morning and I said, well, okay, that day's over, so now I can get back to doing what I always like to do. I can see where this was a good experiment. This was a good experiment. It is an experiment, I thought. I wish I could take credit for this, but I didn't think of this. But it was a good experiment. Because waking up this morning, I found out how easy it is to manipulate the uninformed. Because things that happened over the weekend and my vacation, mini vacation and things like that, going into, the weekend, and yesterday, not really paying a whole hell of a lot of attention, it was easy for me to fall for stuff. Now, I'm not kidding. Now, look at a story this morning. I'm like, really? Now, normally I would have picked up on it because I would have been informed of stuff previous to this, and it wouldn't catch me. And so I had to do a little bit more work this morning than I normally do as far as show prep, because I had to do a lot more investigating and a lot more. I had to go back through my stack of stuff, my paper pile, and try to do my due diligence for you to make sure that I wasn't being had. Now, the problem is that this is what a lot of people do every day. They don't pay attention all day long. They may pay attention, when they first wake up in the morning, which is for most people is the worst time of day to try to think. It really is. The average person, not just American, the average person's peak time is not when they first wake up at 8 in the morning, no matter where you are. That's not their peak mental capacity time. But so it's easier to get something over on people at an earlier time. And this is why look, folks, this is why we have these morning news programs. It's indoctrination central. It's easier to indoctrinate people at two times during their daily routine. One, when they're tired and all their mental defenses and physical defenses are at their lowest. So end of the day, this is why we have newscasts at 11. End of the day, and when they first wake up. Because there's no mental clarity there yet. This is just the way modern life is. And it didn't always used to be that way, but just pay attention to people when they try to wake up in the morning. Their mind is foggy, they're cloudy, they can't think straight, I need coffee, or I need tea. Or they say, don't talk to me before 9 or 10 a.m. or all these kind of excuses for the morning fog. Well, that's accurate. That's the perfect time to indoctrinate people. The brainwash people. Because our society has come to realize that, well, the effect is that in the morning nobody's at their best. Which is also why some wealthy people seem to do so well, because they get up earlier than most people. So by the time everybody else is up, they seem sharp as a tack. Why? Because they've already been up. They've gotten through the morning wake-up fog. And so they come into the office or something and they're raring to go. It's because they've already been up for 6 hours. Where everybody else has been up for barely one. But it's much easier to brainwash people when their brain is fogged or clouded or tired. This is you could say it's torture 101. But it's not torture, is it? Sleep deprivation? It's not torture. People do it to themselves, not just Americans, but mostly Americans though, but people do it to themselves on a daily basis. So how is that torture if you're always constantly doing it to yourself? This is how we fall for a bunch of stuff. This is why we have such a hard time with changing people's minds with the facts, because the facts are indoctrinated. What they think are the facts are indoctrinated and embedded into their brain at a particular point in time, such as global war. People read and watch this stuff in the morning news programs, like Good Morning America and all those other wake-up morning programs. Well, the reason why they're so bright-eyed and cheery is because those people are up at 3 a.m. and they go to bed at 6 p.m., and so they're not tired. And they've already gotten their brain fog out of the way. So now it's 6 a.m. and you're getting up and they're bright-eyed and cheery and they're all raring to go. And they've already been up for 3 hours and you're under the gun trying to catch up to them. And you're going to think, well, geez, they got to be telling me that they're already journalists or TV news personalities. So you think they're going to be telling you the truth. So you're already lacking in holding up, red flags or throwing up red flags here and there in anything that they say. So you're going to buy it. And it's going to get embedded into your head. And it's the same thing if you get in your car and you're listening to the radio news. It's no different. They're just as bad. They're giving you all kinds of BS and BS here and BS there and vile stuff here and vile stuff there and just plain lies. It's not news, but you buy it as the truth. So when you go into work, you talk to your friends about it. You talk to your coworkers. You say, did you hear the news today? Blah, blah, blah. Trump did blah, blah, blah. And Clinton did blah, blah, blah. And you believe it, you believe it, you believe it. And then when somebody later in the day gives you some facts that are truthful, and they shove them in your face, you go, get out of here with that mess. I already heard about it this morning. We know what the deal is. Donald Trump is not liked by the American people. Oh, yes, he is. Look, here's the poll. I heard the polls this morning said that only 30% of the people approve of his ability to tweet properly. That's not true. Well, according to them, it is true. According to them, because they believe the morning stuff, because they were indoctrinated and brainwashed when they had brain fog. Don't think for a second, folks, that the wonderful media does not know how your brain works. They do. They capitalize on it. I'm sending out a warning. I figured this out because I myself would not have known this if I didn't take up my friend's post-vacation challenge. And I almost fell for some of that crap because I had no basis in reality and truth to fight it. They put this stuff out there at a point in time over and over again. It's the same thing over and over again every freaking morning. They come on the air at 6 or 7 in the morning, and every hour, every half hour, it's the same story over and over and over again. It's the same newscast, just redone at a different time. That goes with Good Morning America and Wake Up America and all the other Wake Up American, whatever they are, morning shows. They're all the same. They repeat the same damn story over and over again because they need to get it into your foggy brain right then and there. And then when the time comes, they say, hey, where are you? It's 11 p.m. You should not in bed where you should be. You should be watching the news. Why? So they can indoctrinate you some more so you can go to sleep with some bad news. And then you dream about it and you think about it. And trust me, when you go to sleep on some of this stuff and you wake up, you think you've known this stuff for years. It's the absolute truth. It's called indoctrination. It's called brainwashing. It's brainwashing 101. Why don't you ask people who do it? I have, and let me tell you, they tell me this is the exact same techniques that the news is using, that they use when they are trying to break down an enemy combatant. It's no different. These people are slick. They're sly. They're a pit full of vipers. And that is what some of us are dealing with on a daily basis when we're trying to talk to people and trying to tell them the truth. They have been beyond indoctrinated. They have been brainwashed by using brainwashing techniques in the news on you and me. And I got to admit, if I did not really take my friend up on that that challenge, I wouldn't fully understand of what I just told you. Because even those who know better, even those of us who absolutely know better, because everybody's brain works basically the same way. Any one of us can be brainwashed at any time if we're not careful. And the vast majority of American people don't even know they're brainwashed, so how can they be careful? But the people who are doing the brainwashing, oh yeah, they know exactly what they're doing. You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shea brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around well, primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shea gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. You know, one of the things that people are going to wake up this morning to, well, it's a good thing that this program is on at 9 a.m. because it gives you a shot at shaking off some of the sleepy cobwebs, if you will, with the truth, with the actual factual truth. And one of the things that I came across this morning is, this is from Hot Air, talking about Jane Sanders. You know, the wonderful wife of the inimitable Senator Sanders, Bernie Sanders, Bernard Sanders, the 70-plus-year-old curmudgeon. He just, you know, Bernie Sanders reminds me of the guy. He would be the guy. He would be the old guy where if you walked on his lawn at all, even if you got pushed on his lawn, he'd come running out of the house, swinging his cane, yelling, "Get off my lawn! That's my lawn! Get off my lawn!" That's Bernie Sanders. I know people don't think so, but come on, folks. Listen to the man. He's an angry, grumpy old man. He's an old curmudgeon. He's the guy. He is that old man next door that's always yelling at kids for walking on his lawn. There are real guys out there like that, real men. I've never heard anybody say this about women, though. Never heard a woman yell, "Get off my lawn!" It's always an old guy. Further proof that men and women are different. But if he wasn't a senator in D.C., he'd be sitting at his home outside of Burlington, Vermont. And if somebody drove on his lawn or walked in his lawn or let the dog in his lawn, he'd be running outside on his porch yelling, swinging that cane, "Get off my lawn!" Well, that Bernie Sanders, his wife, who once ran the liberal Burlington College, it's kind of interesting, it's a liberal college, or it was, is now under investigation for some of the things that she did while she was president at this small-time college up in Burlington, Vermont. And now she's getting a little antsy. So she's falling back on the wonderful liberal mantra. You know what? If you're afraid the truth is going to come out or they're getting too close to the truth, then you just start attacking them willy-nilly with anything. You know, just take a play out of the wonderful Democratic liberal playbook. Accuse them of sexism, racism, bigotry, you know, all that kind of stuff. So what does Jane Sanders do? Well, she's out there saying over the weekend that this investigation, this probe now, mind you, you've got a college that went bankrupt that probably shouldn't have gone bankrupt. You got a college that went under that probably should not have gone under. You got a college that there seemed to be some sort of fraud going on in a land deal that most people, most companies or businesses in the position that Burlington College was in at that particular point in time would not have been able to pull off. But she did. And how? Well, that's what they want to find out, because it's highly suspect. But Sanders says that this fraud probe is incredibly sexist. Yes, she's brought out the S word. It's sexist. Well, yeah, because, she's partially right, because if this were a man, if Jane were Joe, the guy would already be indicted. Make no mistake about it. They're giving all kinds of benefits of the doubt to her because, one, she's the wife of Senator Bernie Sanders, and two, she's the wife. She's a woman. And women don't do this kind of thing, right? Isn't that right? Isn't that what you're told? Yeah, that's what some people say too. I don't buy it either. More after this.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
$603-835-3226. That is the call-in number this morning and every morning, should you wish to utilize it. I mean, you know, this whole Sanders thing is this is amazing stuff. Now, first of all, you have to understand that both the Sanderses are pretty much liberal socialist. They're two peas in a pod. They both, but now Sanders, the Mrs. Sanders, and it's her tenure as president of that wonderful liberal. Notice as they call it a liberal college. Well, it's in a very. Port Burlington is become a very. It's sort of a liberal city in Vermont. There are liberal bastions in Vermont, and that is due to a bunch of people coming in from outside of Vermont, because most of Vermont, native-born Vermonters with history and roots in Vermont, they don't think the way most of the transplanted Vermont. Vermont is full of transplanters from Connecticut and in the tri-state area. You know, New Jersey and places like that. They go up to Vermont. Well, they go for vacation. They go for the skiing, especially. And they see wonderful, bucolic little towns with backwards people, country folk, basically. I don't know, what are some of the other words that they use for them? Dirt bags, bumpkins, just little people. And they see these wonderful, beautiful vistas. The rolling hills and mountains and lakes and the backdrop to their ski lodges and ski mountains that they love to go to, and they say, "Honey, wouldn't it be just lovely, darling, if we could live here for permanently? We could shuck all of that city dust and noise behind. It's so quiet and peaceful here, darling. We need to move here." And so the wealthy, they look at somebody and say, "Yes, we want to buy your property because we want to build a monstrosity of a home here." And of course, the little bumpkin says, "Well, no, I don't really want to sell. This land's been in my family for 10 generations now," or something like that. We've been here since the 1400s. Can't sell. They say, "But darling, we're going to give you a god-awful amount of money. This stuff is only, we looked. It's only worth, like $10,000 an acre. We're going to give you $100,000. And this is how the property prices in Vermont skyrocketed. Not because native Vermonters, they don't have jobs that can afford those prices. There aren't jobs in the state that for most of them that can afford those kind of prices on housing. So now they're being priced out of their own state. by people who don't live there. And the Sanders are just two of those kinds of people. They bought into this tri-state liberalism, hook, line, and sinker. And they've been foisting it on their fellow Vermonters for the past, 40 years now. And many of the Vermonters, they figure, geez, I can't afford this stuff on my own because all of these tri-staters are coming up here and pricing me out of the market for everything. And Bernie comes along and says, the government should pay for some of this stuff. Great, I'm going to vote for him. It's a complete setup. And so when it came to time for her to run the college, yeah, she did run it. She ran it right into the ground. Why? Because like every good liberal, Jane Sanders is terrible at managing her own money. Now, what do I mean by that? Her personal finances? Oh, no. Their personal finances are fine because, liberals like the Sanders are cheap. They know how to handle their own money because they don't want to spend their own money unless it's on something that they want, like a new $600,000 island lake house. Sure, then they're very good with their own money. But they're not good with other people's money. And Jane Sanders was spending college money. And somehow there seems to be a disconnect between the personal finances of a liberal and the public finances of a liberal. See, when it comes to their personal finances, and we've seen this over and over again, year after year after year, when it comes to giving and charity, we see that liberals are stingy as hell. They don't give out of their own pocket. Oh, sure, they're gonna sponsor laws and regulations that take money out of your pocket to give to the charities of their choice. Usually government agencies are the charities. But they're not giving willingly out of their own pocket. They just don't. And so she gets into Burlington College. She becomes the president. I don't know why they do that. She had no acumen to do that at all. Was it sexist that they hired her? Probably not. It was more because who her husband was or is why she got the job. And she got in there and thought, well, you know what? I can manipulate public money because this is like public money. It'll never run out. It's a college, for crying out loud. And just the initial looking at her books, you can see this is what her thought process was. Oh, well, since I don't know anything about business, what I can do is I can take this little college with like 250 students, go get a $10 million loan, and think that I can grow the college to meet the loan demands over the next 2 to 4 years. Well, see, that's not how it works. That's not how you do things. Not to mention, she didn't have the collateral, evidently, but somehow she got the college to pony up the collateral for this god-awful loan. And of course, I'm sure the banker was looking the other way a little bit. Well, this is Jane Sanders. This is Bernie Sanders' wife. She's not going to defraud us. She's a senator's wife, for crying out loud. So she was getting all kinds of benefits of the doubt. And then it all came crashing down, and then finally the board of directors said, wait a minute, there's something going on here. Something wrong. And instead of staying to stick it out, to explain to Lucy what she did, she bails. And blames everybody else. She blames everybody else. And now when they want to find out exactly how she got the terms that she got, they want to find out exactly, because it's a complicated mess. So it has to be an investigation. Now she wants to claim it's sexist. because she was spending other people's money, not her own, and she didn't give a damn about it. All she saw was expanding her ideological base. That's all they care about. They don't care about the facts or the truth or the limitations that may be placed on them financially or otherwise. All they see is expanding their so-called truth. Well, this is my truth, Rod. That may be your truth, but this is my truth. No, there's only one truth. It's not my truth. It's not your truth. It's just the truth. When somebody tells you, well, that's not my truth, that means that they're an idiot. They're a liberal idiot. And they know they have no basis in reality or historical documentation to back up what they just said. So that's why they say, well, it's my truth. They're idiots. You can't reason with people like that. And, of course, you're not going to be able to reason with people like Jane Sanders, who runs around saying, well, this investigation is nothing more than it's sexist. Well, Jane, we'd still be investigating you right now if your name was Joe. So is it sexist that we're investigating? No. It's probably sexist that we're giving you the benefit of the doubt that we would not give Joe. It is unfathomable, really. I mean, liberals can do so much. They can do so much with other people's money. Oh, wait. They've had trillions of dollars of other people's money over the past 30 or 40 years, and they haven't done much with it. Except scream and shout and say, well, it wasn't enough. Well, folks, it's never enough. When it comes to other people's money, it's never enough. Is anybody out there doubt me on this one? I mean, we've been through this since the wonderful war on poverty and the Great Society of LBJ. They have spent trillions of dollars, our dollars, trying to combat this stuff, and nothing really changes. And every year they keep telling us, well, we didn't spend enough last year. We didn't spend enough. We got to spend more. Well, there is no amount of money that we're going to be able to spend. Except for the fact that it's other people's money. That's the difference. Since it's other people's money, it's okay that they can spend it. In the meantime, we have to be more and more frugal. We have to do with less and less. Our families get squeezed. And then some of us that we just throw up our hands and say, well, we just can't do this anymore. Government, you got to give me something. You're taking so much, give me something back. So we start asking for freebies. The government starts handing out in dribs and drabs a little bit of freebie, and we go, oh, thank you, massa. Thank you, massa. And in order to keep the little dribs and drabs of freebies coming in, we vote them back into office. We fail to realize, well, if we vote them out and put people in that are fiscally responsible and conservative and constitutional, they'll cut our taxes and give us our money back, and we can buy our own stuff. We won't need a government handout. That's the way this works. Hey, we're going to overtax you, and so you can't afford to live on your own, so then you're going to have to come to us. And, then we'll give you a little bit, just enough to wet your whistle so you keep voting us in. That's what this is all a power play, folks. This is all nothing more than buying votes. And when they get caught stealing from the till, from what they think is an endless, bottomless till, then they scream bloody murder. They scream sexist, racist, bigoted, homophobic, conservative is doing this to them. They did it to themselves because they're greedy. They're selfish, they're ignorant, they're idiotic, they're evil, and they're trying to foist all that stuff onto the rest of us. And it never, ever works. It hasn't so far, and it never will.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
I would make a terrible vocal instrument. You ever seen any of those guys that actually sound like they actually do with their voice? They sound like a real instrument, especially the strings. I don't know how they do that. Remember the guy from, what was it, the Police Academy movies? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about then. There are people who can make those kind of sounds with their mouths and not machinery or other kinds of electronic equipment. It's pretty amazing stuff. I don't even know how they begin to practice doing that kind of thing, but they do. Here's a list of today's holidays, by the way, before we get out of the... I've said that I've always liked to try to get this done in the first hour of the program, so we're almost done with that first hour. So let's get quickly into letting you know what today's holidays are. They are a Perfect Family Day is observed today. I have no idea what that is. No information about Perfect Family Day. Today is also World Listening Day. And see, you're already practicing that because you're listening to me. Today is also Nelson Mandela International Day. Where I guess everybody celebrates the guy who got incarcerated and then while he was in prison became a communist. That's basically I know people are going to hate me on that. You can't say that about Nelson Mandela, man. Nelson Mandela was a hero. He was a freedom fighter. No, he was not a freedom fighter. He got out of prison, became president of South Africa, and proceeded to do the exact same thing to white people in South Africa that the white people were trying to do to the black people in South Africa. That's not a freedom fighter. And he was a born-again communist. That's Nelson Mandela. I don't, no, sorry, not going to go down that road on Mandela. I don't buy the fact that Mandela was a great man. I don't know, ask his wife, Winnie, who stood by him, and as soon as he got out of prison, he divorced her ass. Why? You should ask her. No, she doesn't like talking about it too much, but she doesn't hold high praise for her husband. Just saying. Today is also something very expensive day. National Caviar Day. So today's a day that you should run out and get some caviar. And what kind of crackers do you eat with caviar? I have no idea. I can't imagine eating caviar. And people say, well, caviar is delicious. It's fish eggs. Hey, just the whole notion of it is kind of gross to me. Yeah. Everybody talks about how wonderful it tastes, like beluga caviar and Russian caviar and this kind of caviar. I'm like, it's friggin' eggs. If you need, those are tiny little eggs. If you need eggs, go get some chicken eggs. I mean, come on, seriously? You got to put them on crackers or something. Yeah. No, I don't like things like squid either. I don't eat squid or anything squishy out of the ocean. I don't eat. Fish with scales. Yes, trout, salmon, cod, haddock, tuna, those are wonderful things to eat. They're not squishy. I used to eat clams, but not anymore. Clams, oysters, they're squishy. They got hard shells. No, the inside is squishy. It's actually kind of gross. People love that stuff. I don't know why they would love caviar. Anyway, it is. So if you like to, if you are so inclined, you can celebrate International Nelson Mandela Day. I won't be one of those celebrating because I fully believe, at first, his early work, the stuff that got him imprisoned, well, it was some freedom fighting stuff there. You could say he was a terrorist, but there's some freedom fighting. But he got transformed in prison. He went from being a freedom fighter to being a communist supporter and sympathizer. And I know I'm going to get all kinds of heat on this, but that's the truth. Nelson Mandela was not, in the end, was not a freedom fighter. He was a communist, plain and simple. And he did not become. Well, look. You think he would have loved the United States for helping him get out of prison, putting the pressure on the South African government so hard. He didn't praise us at all, really. He didn't like the USA. Why? Because he was a freaking communist. That's why. But, once a myth has been birthed, it's hard to bust the myth. And people are going to believe about Nelson Mandela what they want to believe, even though many people are still alive today to tell you that he was not the holy prince that people claim that he was. But, hey, Nelson Mandela Day today. Go celebrate.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all, the few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, Elrod, coming to you live from the Bunker Eye Studio. 603-835-3226 is the call-in number on this Tuesday, July number 18 in the year of our Lord 2017. As we get into hour number 2 here, you know, there are people out there that are speculating, hoping for an early demise of Donald J. Trump. They are. It's really sad. I mean, the hatred that these, you know that you've got something evil out there. Because only evil hates good as much as evil does hate good. You know what I'm talking about. And whenever anybody tries to do something that is good and people just completely lose their minds for no apparent logical or good reason whatsoever. You can just see it anytime in somebody's face when you mention President Trump to a liberal, to a true dyed-in-the-wool liberal. That it is as if, I don't know, you had during an exorcism, you had a priest start mentioning the name of God, all the names of God, and the possessed person, they wince every time a name is said. This is what you get people doing when you say Donald Trump. Yeah, he's a great president. No, he's a racist. He's a bigot, misogynist. Really? What's he done? Can you name something? No, I can't, but he is. You know he is. I can call him anything, but without some actual proof that he's actually done those particular things, especially the names that you're calling him, it doesn't make it true. So they go so far as to start, about him fantasizing about this man dying. And all the ways that they could possibly get rid of him. Decapitate him maybe, stab him maybe, poison him maybe. All the wonderful things that they've said. Has anybody, Johnny Depp, I wonder, is an actor or an artist ever assassinated a president? Really? So we have all these people running around talking about the demise of our president. Now, I don't remember people running around talking about the demise of Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or even Jimmy Carter. We didn't do that because that's not civilized. That's not intelligent. It's a sign of demented evil beings is what it is. So, but now you've got USA Today. I bring this up because here's a story in USA Today. Breaking news headline from USA Today. Will President Trump's exercise and eating habits catch up to him as the stress of his job mounts? Will President Trump, considering his current eating and exercise habits or lack thereof, put him in an early grave as the stress of the job mounts? You've got a national publication that is fantasizing about the early demise of the president based on his eating habits. Yeah, because, well, hey, we all know he likes 2 scoops of ice cream versus 1 scoop, right? This is the this is the pinnacle. Why are look, if you really want to get to the deep down dirty root level of what liberals really are, why aren't all the other talking heads talking about this kind of stuff? I know they try to talk about important stuff too, just like I do. And sometimes they talk about inane stuff too, just like I do. But then they sort of put aside the real the mortar, if you will. This is the mortar. This is the what really builds the wall, the liberal wall. This is not a dry stone or dry stack wall system here. This is a wall that they're building with mortar, and this is the mortar is their hatred, their evilness. Now, I don't know many talking heads out there that call out liberals for being evil, but come on. They're evil. If they constantly fantasize in some form or another. They did this with George W. Bush, but not to the extent that they're doing it with Trump. I mean, it's just one after the. I mean, they're saying it openly. Well, I fantasized and dreamed about blowing up the White House and having video and pictures taken of holding ISIS style holding up his an effigy of his head and people just stabbing him on stage, brutally stabbing him on stage. Anybody see that? There was some film of that play, the end of the play. Anybody see that? I saw like 30 seconds of that of the assassination scene. And it was more. The assassination scene was more than 30 seconds long, but it was brutal. There was no doubt about what they were doing. These people had emotion and feeling. It's a good thing that whoever was playing Trump, those people didn't actually have a knife because he would be dead. It's amazing. So they go through all this stuff, and of course, if you ever said anything, anything that was even slightly off candor on Barack Obama, they jumped all over you. You can't say that about a president. What are you, a bigot? What are you, a racist? You're a racist. Well, I don't like Obama. You're a racist. Because I don't like Obama? At least I'm not trying to run out there and try to make a film about or a play about his assassination. At least I'm not holding up his head in effigy, his severed, bloodied head, and then telling everybody, well, it was a joke. It was a joke. Don't you guys ever laugh? This is no joke, because now you've got USA Today speculating that Donald Trump's eating and exercise habits, because of the stress of the job of the presidency, is going to cause him to die before he finishes his first term. I mean, this is insanity. Something tells me that I think Donald Trump will fare just fine with how many of us have ever run a multi-billion-dollar international real estate conglomerate before? Something tells me it's not a stress-free job. So I'm pretty sure. By the way, here's another story. How long can humans actually live? Somehow I don't know how they did this study, but last year a trio of New York researchers claimed humans had already lived as long as they possibly could. About 115 years. Well, we're not coming. Most of us are not. Most people aren't coming close to 115. They're dropping off. What the average age right now is? 78 years. Well, that's not 115. But in any case, it's about 115, said Albert Einstein College of Medicine researchers. That's the maximum human lifespan. Now a group of Canadian researchers challenges that assertion, saying it's possible human existence may be boundless. It does. Now, can you imagine if it were... Now, folks, we're getting into the realm of being able to replace many of our important body parts, and with gene splicing and DNA mapping and all this other kind of stuff that's biological stuff that's going on, cloning and the such. You can basically, at some point within the next decade or so, if you have an organ of yours that is going bad, I don't know. Say that you got a bad heart. Well, theoretically, what they're working on is that you don't have to wait for a transplant from somebody who dies. They just grow you a heart from your own DNA and your own tissue. And they manipulate the gene so it becomes a healthy organ instead of an unhealthy one, and they replace it. So that means your body can't reject it because it's your own tissue. Now, by doing this, except for the brain, if we can do this for just about every major body part, how is it that you're going to wear out? Can you? Well, your brain can wear out, I know, but we're working on curing certain mental disorders like dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. But other than that, really, most of the time, most people die not because their brain gives out, but because the rest of the body does. So how much longer can they keep us alive by being able to replace our body parts? I mean, seriously. Now, can you imagine what liberals would what liberals would do if we could already do that and we could replace all the worn-out body parts of Donald J. Trump? Well, obviously, except for the brain. I don't think we'll ever be able to clone or whatever the brain. There's just too much there. Are you gonna copy all the memories? I don't know how that's possible. All the knowledge, wisdom that was built up over the lifespan of that particular, and then how you no. Maybe someday in the distant future we'll be able to do that. But at this particular juncture, I know people are talking about we can download the brain. You can download it, Rod, and then you can upload it. I don't think so. A little bit more complicated than that. But, well, I mean, there are people that are working on that, being able to download the brain so that your consciousness, I guess, never dies, which is evidently these people don't know what consciousness is. It's just algorithms that when you download it into a computer. But So can you imagine if we could just, keep Donald Trump healthy forever, for as long as his brain allows his body to live? Can you imagine? These people would flip out. You want to talk about flipping out now? They would. These liberals would definitely flip out. You can't. It's a delicious thought, though. I'd say do it.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
603-835-3226. Whatever happened to that one love? Didn't liberals give us this, the flower children give us the 60s, love, peace, and understanding type of thing? Flower children, psychedelic, everything. And they did. How ironic. The baby boomers were the ones that gave us all this peace, love, and understanding stuff out of the 60s and 70s, and now they come into the 2000 teens, and there is them and their offspring are some of the most violent people on the planet. Hey man, it's just peace. Put down your gun, peace. Give peace a chance. And that's the 60s and 70s, right? And you get into the 2000 teens, 2015, 16, 17, and you get things like Black Lives Matter, Occupy Wall Street. Hey, what happened to the peace, love, and understanding? They turn into death and destruction. Anybody notice that? Anybody besides me notice that? I mean, think about it. We had all these wonderful marches and protests, and they complain and accuse the man of being violent against them when they weren't being violent. And we fast forward to 2017, and they've got all kinds of violence under their belt, and putting out calls for more. You would think you were talking to a terrorist organization. But the funny thing is we're not. We're talking about these so-called peace, love, and understanding organizations. They're supposed to be all caring, all inclusive, and all loving. Black Lives Matter. No, whitey don't need to apply here. It's Black Lives Matter, not White Lives Matter. All lives matter is racist. This Black lives got to matter. Y'all don't count. And, of course, you have, the wonderful Occupy Wall Streeters. We want jobs. We want jobs. Okay, we'll give you a job. I don't want a job that only pays $10 an hour, man. I went to school. I got a useless degree, and I got a bachelor's degree in underwater historical colored water art. I deserve $100,000 a year for that. Well, there aren't a lot of those jobs around. Well, then we're just going to have to occupy your streets, man, and destroy your cars and your shops. And we're going to have to overflow the toilets at Starbucks, man. For what? Because y'all are greedy up on Wall Street. Oh, so you're demanding incomes and salaries that you do not deserve. But people who more likely deserve those types of salaries, you're calling greedy. Well, I deserve it. I went to college, man. You have no experience, man. And this is the same when you get to, well, it doesn't matter. Even when they do get some experience and they still think that they know it all. Anybody? Mark Zuckerberg, anybody? I mean, isn't it wonderful how one of the top 5 wealthiest people in the world, due to a social media network, is out now preaching about some sort of basic international basic bottom line annual income. Well, how about you just start handing out a little bit of your own stock there, Mark? That'll do enough to hold people over, right? So they can come up with wonderful ideas. These people are just incredible. Their audacity and their hypocrisy knows no end. It is boundless. Back to this story about living to be 115 years or older. It doesn't mean that we don't know that there is no limit to living. We can detect no limit. No limit is possible. That indeed there is no limit, said a McGill University biologist. Average human lifespan keeps increasing dramatically, and maximum human lifespan seems to follow. However, for the first time in 2015, we saw since 1900 that we see a decline in the average life expectancy in America. It dipped back down below 79 years of age to 78.8. And we know some of the reasons why, frankly, because some of the drug use from the younger generation, you got a lot more younger people dying because of illicit drug use, and because of their, as one study put it, their lack of hygiene. Did you know that the wonderful millennial generation, not Generation Z, but millennial generation, is one of the dirtiest and filthiest generations in America? Their lack of hygiene is now legend. I don't know how that became possible. But So yeah, that's gonna take a, you know, your national life expectancy is gonna take a hit when you do stuff like that. Look, they're engaging in riskier behavior as well. Oh, it must be all that peace, love, and understanding and freedom stuff that they talk about all the time. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us,
after this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
$603-835-3226. Welcome back. If you are a Trump fan, even if you're not a Trump fan, you might find this particular story interesting from Bloomberg. Finally, it says the headline, finally a poll Trump will like. Clinton is still even more unpopular. Oh, you think? Yes, indeed. And here's the story. For a president with historically low poll numbers, that's also not exactly true, but we won't get into that at this moment, but let's continue with this part of the story. If Donald Trump can at least find solace in this, Hillary Clinton is doing worse. Yes, Trump's 2016 Democratic rival is viewed favorably by just 39% of Americans in the latest Bloomberg national poll, 2 points lower than the president. It's the second lowest score for Clinton since the poll started tracking her in September of 2009. The former Secretary of State has always been a polarizing figure, but this survey shows that she's even lost popularity among those who voted for her in November. Well, not exactly. You see, we've been learning a lot about these polls and who that they're, sampling in these polls. And we've learned that oftentimes, almost all the time, especially when it comes from places like Bloomberg and ABC and NBC and Yahoo and MSNBC and CNN, is they oversample Democrats. Sometimes by as many as 20 points. So polls can be manipulated, people, as I've said to you time and time again. Polls are nothing more than statistics, and there are three kinds of lies. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. And this is where the left gets off. And this is where the left thinks that they can get away with this. This is where the left tries to skew everything to make it look like it's a lot worse than it is. And it's not that bad. They oversample Democrats who hate Donald Trump in a poll, and they come back and say, well, see, Donald Trump can't get above 40% approval rate. Well, that's because, you outsampled Republicans with Democrats by 12 points. So you're going to get a false. This is how they get their fake poll numbers every time when they're running around talking about, in elections. Oh yeah, Hillary Clinton is up by 10 points or 12 points or 20 points, because they oversample their own base. They don't get a true sampling, cross the board sampling of America. But then they run around because they think, well, everybody thinks like us. Anybody who's anybody. And anybody who's halfway intelligent thinks like us. So of course we can oversample, but it's still going to be the same. So it's no big deal. And then every single time they seem to get shocked when the actual voting doesn't turn out the way their polls suggest. Time and time, I don't understand how they do this. They keep doing the same thing over and over again. Well, let's oversample and let's get a fake poll reading. I don't know. Maybe they expect. Maybe they still expect those on the right to just finally one day to say, "Well, it's useless to fight these people. Might as well capitulate." That's not going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. Do you have a poll that suggests that it will happen if you keep doing this? They must have. They must have some polling somewhere that suggests, well, if we keep faking the polls, eventually they'll become true. I'd like to see that poll. More than a fifth of Clinton voters say they have unfavorable view of her. By comparison, just 8% of likely Clinton voters felt that way in the final Bloomberg poll before the election. By the way, they're just never going to get over this Hillary loss. They're never going to get over this loss of November 2016. They are always going. This is the new George W. Bush, Al Gore contest. This is the new hanging Chad all over. The new hanging Chad contest. They are not going to be able to get over Hillary Clinton losing. I'm just telling you, they're not. They can't get over it. I don't think she's gotten over it. I think she's still in shock. She's expecting, wherever she wakes up, lifts her old ugly little head every morning, she's expecting somebody to knock on the door and say, Madam President, here's your schedule for this morning. And she doesn't hear it ever. Somebody may come to her and say, Madam Secretary, or she may hear Mr. President when her husband's in earshot, but that's about it. She's not the president. I don't think she's gotten over it. I definitely know that many of her supporters haven't gotten over it. They're still in a state of shock. Folks, don't doubt me on this. They're still in a state of shock. This is amazing to them how this sort of thing could have happened. In this day and age of modern cheating, how could they still lose? They cheated. They cheated, and they cheated some more with fake votes, phony votes, illegal votes. They just cheated and cheated and cheated in many different places, and yet they still lost, which makes it even more impossible for them to accept the loss. Because they know they cheated. Well, they know they stuffed the ballot boxes in communities and states all across this great land of ours. That is why they're so shocked and surprised. Wait, I can't lose a state that we always win. How do we lose Michigan and Wisconsin? No, I was told we were going to win it. You people didn't stuff the ballots enough over there. I mean, seriously. No, I got the popular vote. I got more than 3.5 million more votes than Trump did. I should be president. I didn't win it. No. Actually, you see, Hillary, we now know that there are over 5 million illegal votes cast, and we know that most of them went for you. At least 5 million. So you actually lost, if we take away all 5 million of those votes, you actually lost the election, the popular vote, by some 2 million votes. And of course, nobody's talking about that either, but that is the truth. So she lost, but they're going to keep telling themselves she won the popular vote. She won the popular vote. Al Gore won the popular vote. That she won the popular vote. Presidents win the popular vote. Whoever wins the popular vote should be president, man. No bones about it. That's the way it should be because it's supposed to represent the entire country. Well, you can't represent the entire country if you only got 7 states that are going to determine what 50 states are going to do. That's not representing the entire country. But you can't explain it to these people that way either. They don't get it. Well, I wouldn't say they don't get it. They refuse to get it. They refuse to admit that they get it. So Donald Trump is faring better than Hillary Clinton. But who really cares? When it comes right down to it, so what? Hillary Clinton lost. She's not the president. Donald Trump is. Why would you still be taking a poll of what people think about Hillary Clinton? She's old. She's done. She's not going to be running in 2020. If she does, she's going to be 74 or 75. I'm still thinking that she's not. Now, I don't wish this upon her. I still don't think she's going to make it to 74 or 75. I think she's got some serious health problems. So does it really matter what we think of her? No, she's done. Goodbye, good riddance. Can we get rid of them finally? Can we send them packing? I think it's at a point right now where even many in the Democrat Party don't want the Clintons to be anywhere in the Democratic leadership. I don't. I think that maybe the press is trying to keep her in the public eye as to protect her. I mean, because let's face it, folks. I keep telling you, this is why they got to keep this whole Russiagate, Russian collusion thing going. And even though they know that it's a big nothing burger, they got to keep it going, because as soon as they stop, it means all focus and concentration can be on them on the left, and there are many of them that are neck deep in this muck. And they don't want that stuff to get out, so they have to keep the Trump thing going. And the Republicans in Congress are being. You want to talk about people that are being stupid, being led by the nose. They're right now they're acting like they're more afraid of their own shadow. And as a matter of fact, there is a story here from theweek.com. Theweek.com. Why, in this story, the piece is about why this GOP Congress, will be the most unproductive in 164 years. A piece by David Ferris, Faris. And he goes into detail about why he believes that, there's no. What have they passed so far? Any major legislation, really? What have they passed in both houses that they've gotten to the president's desk? I don't think there's been any real major minor piece here and there, sure. Any major legislation that is on the president's agenda or anybody's agenda, like repealing Obamacare, cutting taxes, tax reform? I mean, they haven't started a budget yet. Well, no, they did a budget. No, they didn't. That budget should have been done last year. They are spending like Democrats, though. Give them that. They're accomplishing that. But here in this story, Here in this story, David Ferris goes into detail. He says, just 6 months ago, it looked like the Republican Party was about to go on a legislative blitzkrieg, shredding law after law passed by the Obama administration. Instead, this is me talking now, not David Ferris. Instead, we had to rely on executive orders from the president, in which case sometimes the left got so outraged that they went judge shopping and challenged the president's authority in federal court, doing some of the things that obviously Obama did himself, and the president was reversing course, or even in the case of the travel ban, doing exactly what Obama did, and them not liking it. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, he goes on. Obamacare would be vaporized and replaced with a nickel rattling inside an empty Mountain Dew can, Dodd-Frank was sure to be tossed aside for a transparent giveaway to Wall Street, and Republicans would pass their regressive tax reform, their perplexing border adjustment tax, and so much more. The GOP hadn't held total power in American politics since 2006, and the party had become much more conservative in the interim. Really? No, they haven't. They've become more liberal, not more conservative. The problem is that the left has become more liberal. Far more liberal. They move farther to the left. And how is cutting taxes a regressive tax? Oh, and Dodd-Frank, which is not a very transparent law, it's a very complicated law that costs regular people trying to do business with banks and financial institutions more money. It's expensive. It's stupid. It doesn't work the way it was intended to work, and it's harming the people that it was intending to help. So they said it was intended to help. And yet we haven't gotten rid of it. And we haven't gotten rid of Obamacare. And we haven't built the wall. Just all kinds of wonderful things that our wonderful Congress is not getting accomplished yet, are they?
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and/or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
And welcome back. Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Now, Hillary Clinton is... would they be having these kind of articles if Hillary Clinton was president? Of course not. And I know I'm saying we need to forget about. Well, we can't forget about the Clintons, and the reason is because there's a lot of potential crime that has gone on there in Bill and Hillary's recent life. It's not something that you just let go. Can't let it go. I mean, these people, they committed crimes. And most people that have committed the crimes that unless they're another politician, most average Americans who commit the crimes that the Clintons have been accused of serve jail time. They go to jail. In fact, people who do the things that people who support the Clintons do, if they were in the civilian area, not the governmental area, they went to jail. If they were a Republican, they tried to put them in jail. Anybody remember Scooter Libby? The man really didn't do anything wrong or illegal. They caught him on a technicality. Why do you think General Mattis didn't? Why do you think he wanted immunity? Look, some of these people are smart enough to realize historical events and figure out, well, geez, no human being's memory is absolutely perfect. But when you start writing this stuff down because of you keep asking me the same question over and over and over again, and every time I answer it a little bit differently, because maybe I'll remember at that particular point in time, I remember a certain aspect that I didn't remember before, so I answer the question a little bit differently, and then you come back and say, aha, you lied. And then you're going to get me on perjury, and it has nothing to do with the actual case at hand. Well, that's how they ensnared Scooter Libby. Because according to Democrats, when they ask you a question, you're supposed to answer the question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when they ask that question again 2 weeks later, you're supposed to answer it exactly the way you did before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when they ask you that question again 2 weeks after that, and they ask you in a different way, they expect you to answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, they're going to say, aha, we got you, you lied. Because 2 weeks ago you said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, it's still basically the same thing. I haven't really left out or changed any major detail. I just remembered something different today that maybe I didn't remember back then. You still said it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2 weeks ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 today. You lied. We're going to get you on perjury. You're going to jail. But it has nothing to do with what you're asking me about. Doesn't matter. We got you. And not in a good way. We got you. Isn't that how they say it in the street? I got you. I got you. But not in a good way this time. Folks, this is exactly why you get so many people who ask for immunity or plead the fifth. Because they're not foolish and stupid. They understand how this works, and it's all working to try to get them, especially if they're conservative.
Today, there's a beer for everyone.
Hey, me and the guys are going out for a beer. You want to come along? Nah, I got a lot of data to enter into the computer tonight.
Now, there's a brew for the future.
Want me to bring you something back? Thanks, but I got some right here.
Microsoft Brew.
You got a beer tap on your computer?
With a head so thick you can float a mouse on it.
Let me get this straight. You make your own beer with the computer? With the right software, you can do anything.
Microsoft Brew.
Here, I call this one Windows 95. I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
And if you gotta get there quicker, try the new ISDN malt liquor.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me? My doctor recommended Prevactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Prevactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show this Tuesday, July number 18 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call number is 603-835-3226. As you well know already, so you could utilize that number should you wish to call into the program. Got a couple of stories here that center around the left coast. And I could present either one of these stories to you first, and it would lead into the other. But I think I'll go ahead and use the one that is deemed environmentally sound. And, for an environmentally sound state like Oregon, Oregon is probably the most, how should we put it, bicycled state in the union. For whatever reason, they're crazy about their bicycles out in Oregon. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. You know, Portland, Oregon is a bicycle-laden city. That's great. If that's the type of community and city and municipality that you want to live in and you want to create, that is fine and fantastic. I mean, just don't foist it on the rest of us, but I don't have a problem with it. I have a bicycle. I mean, I haven't really ridden it a lot in the past 2 years, but I used to ride it constantly. Well, when I first got separated from my ex-wife, it was out of necessity because she took all the cars. Yeah, that's a long story, how that happened, but it did happen for a short period of time. And it's a good thing it was in the summer, because I was forced to ride a bicycle. But in any case, if you want to ride a bicycle, that's fine. That's great. I like bikes. I have a wonderful mountain bike. I've had it for, probably about 10 or 12 years now. Same bike, yeah. I mean, it's a rugged thing. It's not the heaviest thing you'll ever lift. But it's not one of the lightest bikes that they've ever made when I first bought it either. It's a Schwinn. And the only thing I've ever had to replace on it literally were tires and inner tubes. I've worn out tires. It's on its third set. I mean, I used to ride the bike so much. It's on its third set of tires. Because I literally wore them out. They were bald. I had to replace them. So I'm a bike enthusiast. I like taking it off trails and riding the streets. Biking can be a lot of fun. And it can get you around town. It's a very cheap form of transportation. It can be very efficient. It can be very... there's a lot of good stuff about bikes. And the people of Oregon know this. Now, they take it to the extreme with all their bicycling, but that's okay. It's a very liberal state, obviously, because it's out there on the left coast, California and Washington State. So what do liberals do in government? Well, they go and attack the very people that support them the most. Here's a story out in Oregon. Democratic governor is about to sign the first statewide bicycle tax in the nation. Bicycle tax, people. Bicycle tax. Governor Kate Brown, Democrat, is expected to sign a $15 excise tax on bikes that cost over $200. It's not hard to get a bike that costs over $200, even at Walmart. Bikes don't tend to be cheap, but in Oregon, a state known for its avid bicycle culture, the state legislature's approval of the first statewide bike tax in the nation has fallen flat with riders. You think? This is from the Washington Times now. Democratic Governor Kate Brown is expected to sign the sweeping $5.3 billion transportation package, which includes a $15 excise tax on the sale of bicycles costing more than $200, with a wheel diameter of at least 26 inches. Now, even though the funding has been earmarked for improvements that will benefit cyclists, that's what they always say, the tax has managed to irk both anti-tax Republicans and environmentally conscious bikers. Because, again, the wonderful liberals, they don't want to pay for their own stuff. I mean, even if this $15 excise tax was going to go for the upkeep of the trails and bicycle byways of the state, if 100% of it was actually going to be spent on that, these wonderful liberal bicycles, they don't want to pay for it. Bicyclists, they don't want to pay for that. No, absolutely not. But Bike Portland publisher Jonathan Mouse, I guess, or Maus, M-A-U-S, he called it an unprecedented step in the wrong direction. Shouldn't it be an unprecedented cycle or pedal in the wrong direction? I'm just saying. We're taxing the healthiest, most inexpensive, most environmentally friendly, most efficient, and most economically sustainable form of transportation ever devised by the human species. Well, that's why they have to tax it. Because they're causing all these people who would use other types of transportation that's already taxed into going into bicycles. So they're losing money. But Oregon Republican Party Chairman Bill Currier blasted what he described as Miss Brown's endless obsession with finding new and innovative ways to take money out of the pockets of Oregon taxpayers. Yeah, liberals, they do a wonderful job of finding new and innovative ways of taxing you, of taking money out of your pocket. And I know you're probably saying, but it's only $15 for a $200 bike, Rod. Come on. I get that. But why should you pay another $15 on top of the taxes you're already paying? And, of course, some people would say, oh, that's right. And you got to ask, well, what are they actually going to be spending the money on? They're not going to be spending it on bike paths. It's not going to take that much money. So what are they going to spend the money on? Oh, well, here's a story, again from the Washington Times, straight out of Oregon, or as they say, Oregon. Oregon governor to sign unprecedented bill providing free abortions for all. Where's she going to get the money for this? Well, from the healthiest, most environmentally conscious people in the state. Evidently. Isn't this an interesting web that we weave out there in Oregon? Governor Kate Brown said Thursday of last week that she plans to sign a sweeping, unprecedented bill requiring insurers to provide free abortions for their customers, including illegal immigrants. Now, how is an illegal immigrant going to have insurance? But I digress. The ability to control our bodies, she says, and make informed decisions about health and critical care to providing all Oregonians the opportunity to achieve our full potential and live productive, thriving lives. Yes, to live productive, thriving lives by murdering children. That's how they do it in Oregon, I guess. Now, the Democratic chief executive said in an email, attempts to deny access to contraceptives and family planning are an attack on all Oregonians, particularly women of color, low income, and young women. Well, the women of color, meaning black women and Latino women, yeah, well, there's too many of them anyway, so said Margaret Sanger. Anybody remember her? Yeah. That's what this whole Planned Parenthood is targeting in the first place. Now, the $10.2 million bill, which cleared the State House and the Senate with no Republican votes, also comes as a badly needed boost for Planned Parenthood's Oregon affiliate, which helped write the measure and push for its passage as it struggles to keep its doors open. Well, if this is such a rite of passage out there, how is it that Planned Parenthood of Oregon is having a hard time keeping its doors open? In a state when you can get an abortion for just about any reason at just about any time you damn well please. And yet, Planned Parenthood can't keep its doors, or struggling keeping its doors open? How is that possible? So in other words, what the government is now going to do is they're going to further subsidize Planned Parenthood in Oregon. And they're going to take the money out of the pockets of some of the healthiest people in Oregon, the bicyclist. And you're probably saying, but no, Rod, they said they're going to use the money for roadways and bike paths. Sure, because now that frees up money that they can now give to Planned Parenthood. It's called money laundering. Plain and simple. You've got a money laundering operation going on in Oregon to take public money, public funds, tax dollars from healthy people who want to help the environment and their own health, and to take their money out of their pocket to give it to somebody who wants to murder, end the life of an innocent human being. All because a company, a for-profit, don't tell me that Planned Parenthood is nonprofit, because that's bullshit. All nonprofits are in it for the profit, because if they weren't, they wouldn't stay in business. All in order to keep this for-profit abortion clinic up and running, because evidently Oregonians are not having enough abortions and paying for them to support Planned Parenthood. Does anybody else see the connection here? She goes after a certain segment of the Oregonian population to help pay for something that should come out of the pocket of other sectors of the Oregonian population. And then using the old mantra, the ability to control our bodies and make informed decisions about health. It's not, being pregnant is not a disease. They make it sound like being pregnant is a disease, and that the baby growing inside your womb, ladies, is a tumor that needs to be plucked out and removed. It's not a cancer growing inside you. It's a human being, a viable life. And who knows what that child could accomplish, but they'll never fulfill their potential because you just murdered them. And you got it for free because your governor decided, along with the Democratic legislature, to take money from law-abiding, healthy citizens who only want to ride their bikes back and forth to work so they can force your insurance provider, to give you, if it's free, if they're giving it for, why is the bill going to cost $10.2 million? Anybody else figure that one out? Obviously, it's not free then, is it? It's going to cost the state $10 million to force insurers to give out free abortions to anyone, everyone who gets pregnant, who's insured by them, who wants even illegal immigrants. How is that free? Shouldn't they just write a law and say, you got to do it? Why do they got to provide $10 million for this? Why do they got to tax bicyclists in order to launder the money over so they can have $10 million free in order to give it to insurers and Planned Parenthood? It's all a bid to save Planned Parenthood. Anybody else put 2 and 2 together? I know. It's not 2 and 2, Rod. It's 1 plus 1 equals 3. At least that's the way they do it out there in Oregon on the left coast. That's the way all liberals do it, is it not?
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
The most politically incorrect black man in America. You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
So we have all these wonderful Oregonians, I guess, that need to get abortions, and they can't afford to get them, so now they're going to get them for free, I suppose. I don't know. And why... okay, there we go. What the hell is going on with this switchboard all of a sudden? Switchboard doesn't like me. Anyway, they often, well, I guess they can't afford to get their own abortions, or at least they can't afford to go to Planned Parenthood. So Planned Parenthood is in trouble? They're in trouble? I guess. I don't know. I just find it very interesting that they're able to pass, and none of this stuff is getting Republican support in Oregon. How you liberals out there? Well, I know your big bastion is single payer health care and abortion. You got to have abortion no matter what. But they're taxing you every other way, and you think that's okay? Well, obviously you don't, because when she hits you with just a measly $15 tax on a bike costing more than $200, I mean, let's be frank about it now. Let's take the other side. What is the Oregon sales? Whatever the sales tax is, it doesn't matter. You buy a $1,000 bike, which bikes can easily get to be $800 to $1,200. I've seen them. I've been to bike shops. I thought about buying a new bike, and numerous times I've gone to bike shops and looked. Are you kidding me? I cannot see myself paying that kind of money for a mountain bike. Look, I've seen bikes in bike shops that cost upwards of $8,000. A bicycle. Nothing really well, it's just these ultralight things, I suppose, but nothing really, really, really fancy about it. Still 21 gears. That's it. I mean, I saw this Featherlight bike. It was a metal, it was a hybrid. It was an alloy, a very light alloy, and a carbon fiber. Some of the components were made out of carbon fiber, and some of the components were made out of an alloy. And it was extremely light, very rigid in the places that it needed to be rigid, and more flexible in the places that it needed to be flexible. And the bike was, get this, it was $8,195. $8,200 for this bike. And it was had a 27-inch wheelbase, or wheel rim. That's it, 27 inches. So it wasn't something huge. It was 27 inches, and it was a combo off-road, on-road. A combo, it wasn't quite a mountain bike, but it could be a mountain bike. But it was also made for the street, which is why it had 21 gears, I suppose. And it had this funny kind of handlebar system where you could hold it like a mountain bike, but you could also hold it and ride it like you were riding one of those the old-fashioned 10-speed handlebars, the Ram style handlebars. So it had that along with the regular mountain. So it was like the either you could do the ram horn thing, or you could do the cow steer thing, because that's basically what mountain bike handlebars look like. They look like the old cow steer horns. They do. The $8,200 for this bike. So on that, you're going to pay another $15. So that's what they're complaining about. What's the big deal if somebody buys an $8,200 bike? Do you think they're going to care about another $15? Probably not. But just the very fact that they're charging it and it's coming out of the pocket of other liberals has liberals incensed. You can't charge us. Well, she is. The governor of Oregon is. And then she's going to turn around and launder that money, pretty much, basically, that's the way they're doing it, and give $10 million of it over to Planned Parenthood. So you're going to be paid. You shouldn't. maybe if we put it in those terms, if you put it in those terms, then I suppose, then all those wonderful liberals who don't like the tax now will end up embracing and enjoying the tax because they know that Republicans, too, and conservatives and independents who also buy a bike over $200 are going to have to pay the $15 along with them. And they'll just go ahead and try to. This is going to increase the used bike market. Just you watch. Guaranteed. Used bikes are going to be worth a lot more now.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness.
Get some rear security.
From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
Out in Oregon, you might as well just buy a car, because they're going to charge you for the bicycle. Just saying. And your wonderful tax dollars are going to go towards the murdering of a innocent unborn child out there in Oregon, as they call it. It is what it is. By the way, here's something out of San Francisco from sfgate.com. Nothing like teaching the hard lessons of business. This one is about a little girl. It's the proverbial lemonade stand story again, folks. Get this one. A girl at lemonade stand threatened by a man who said he'd called police for lack of a business license. Yeah, you want to... maybe he was afraid of competition in any way. A man threatened a little girl for selling lemonade and cookies at a lemonade stand just outside of her home in her driveway. Threatened by another man, an adult man, who claimed that he would call the police on the girl because of her lemonade stand. Her lemonade stand had a lack of a business license. Whoever the man is who threatened to call the police on my daughter for her lemonade stand, you are seriously pathetic, said the child's mother. There's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things, she said. And I understand that you are upholding the law, but really, upholding the law. Does anybody remember a time when it was quite all right for a kid to have a lemonade stand? Do you realize, this is the truth, though, folks. It may be funny. But everybody remembers Peanuts. Lucy Van Pelt, psychiatrist, doctors in. Instead of a lemonade stand, she had a psychiatrist stand. For a nickel, she'd give you psychiatric help. Do you realize that by today's society, that Lucy Van Pelt would be imprisoned for practicing medicine without a license? She would. What is the Peanuts character? It's supposed to be in like second grade, right? So what, 8 years old? So yeah, let's lock up a 7 and 8 year old for not having for practicing medicine without a license. But that's what would happen, because we have kids today. I mean, I remember there's a story out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, back in the mid-'70s, where the IRS got wind of a young man who was 11 years old at the time, and his worm bait business. And at the time, I guess he made so much money in his worm bait business that the IRS decided that they were going to come in and seize his assets because he did not pay taxes. Now, it didn't matter that his dad was, oversight, I guess. His dad's, he's under me. He's only 11 years old. He doesn't have a business, really. This is just a part-time thing for him. And he makes some money at it. He's done pretty well. But, tax him under me. I'll pay the penalty. And the IRS refused at first. Now, this was in the 70s. We saw the start of this in the 70s, folks. Attacking children entrepreneurs who are doing nothing but just they're being told that they can do anything and be anything that they want, and that they need to just go out there and work. And so you get some enterprising kids who don't want an allowance, or maybe their parents say, well, we can't afford to give you an allowance, so you got to earn your money somehow. So they're enterprising, and they do what most of us probably did at the time, is they have a lemonade or a Kool-Aid stand. And now they can't do it because some jackass is going to run up on them and say, where's your business license, and where's your health department license, and your food dispensary license, and all kinds of licenses that's going to add up to literally thousands of dollars for a food business simply because some little 12-year-old wants to set up a lemonade stand at the edge of their driveway. When was the last time anybody got food poisoning or sick from drinking lemonade, even if it's watered down and over-sugarified, from an 11-year-old lemonade stand? No, there are more people getting sick going to a legitimate adult-run business. What do these people want? Are they afraid of the competition? You know what? I don't know. Maybe, hey, let's see if a caller here has got, is taking this to heart as well. 817, you're on the Rod Eccles Show. What you got?
Isn't it ridiculous, the kind of world we live in right now?
I'm telling, we're being charged. Now they're going to get an extra excise tax on bicycles so they can give free abortions in Oregon. And in California, they're still trying to shut down little 11 and 12-year-old kids for having a lemonade stand because they don't have the proper business license.
Yeah, and you're not lying. I remember seeing those articles a couple days ago, and it's sad. I live in Texas, and I love Texas very much. They lean real towards the right, and that's where I pretty much lean. I wouldn't really consider myself a Republican, but more of a conservative constitutionalist. But let me go ahead and. So they've been busting down on abortions, and hopefully by the time they legalize marijuana, they'll make abortions illegal. But let me give you some funny facts that's going to make you laugh. So the Democrats, her name is Jessica Farr. She decided to try to put down this law. Put down this bill that would make the men to remain fully absent, and they can't. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. They can't masturbate. Basically, it should make them should a man make an admission outside of a medical faculty or vagina, he could face up to $100 penalty for an act that would be considered an act against an unborn child in failing to preserve the
sanctity of life.
Killing
this
a
is
child.
From a Democrat?
Oh, this is from a Democrat. No joke. And then on top of that, basically she just goes in that, since women's rights are being, just terrorized because we can't, because we love pro-life and we love life so much that we don't want to cause any babies to die, that they're going to go ahead and throw something out for the men. Go ahead and do that. And you know what's funny? The Republicans are actually going with it. They're trolling them. So I figured you would love that one. It's pretty good. It's an article from the Blaze. You would enjoy that if you read it.
Well, we'll have to really dig into that one a little bit later. We won't sexualize it any more than it already has been. How ridiculous is that? I mean, come on, seriously. This is, I hate to say it, but we have this ability now to do all of this inane stuff because we're such a spoiled nation. We really are. We do have it very good. And so now instead of really talking about and tackling the real weighty matters, we can entertain this ridiculousness to such an extent where we actually bring it forth into legislation attempts. Although Texas is starting to tackle, going back to some of the real stuff, and it looks like Texas. I got something here in the paper pile this morning. Texas is. The state is going after harder the sanctuary cities. The conservative state is going after the liberal cities. Well, that's a good thing.
It's great. I'm loving it. Abbott, Greg Abbott's been he's been putting his foot down. He's been making a stand even though he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Yes, here. In fact, hold on, here it is from the printed out right here in my currently cigar nicotine stained fingers from The Hill. The Hill. Texas Republicans take aim at liberal cities. See, I knew I saw this somewhere. The sunset red granite of the Texas state capitol stands at 302 feet, and it towers over nearby Travis County and Austin municipal buildings. Austin, Texas, for those of you who don't know, if you're out there in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda, is a rather liberal city in the heart of a very Republican conservative state. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how it got that way, but it did. And Austin has tried to do a number of liberalistic types of things that finally the state is just saying, oh, hell no, you cannot do that. We're tired of this garbage. You're just not going to do it anymore. You're going against the entire, Republic of Texas, basically, when it comes to some of your liberal nonsense, and we're just going to try to put a stop to this. And one of these things has to do with this, with the illegal immigrant sanctuary city type of stuff. So and Republicans are not losing seats in Texas because they're doing this either, which should also tell them something. So what do you think about this going on? They're going after Austin. They're going after liberal cities of Houston, and they're going after a city that's turning more liberal, it seems, Dallas, for this stuff specifically. Are there any other cities in Texas that might be, Corpus Christi or anything, that might be feeling the wrath of the Republican or conservative government?
Houston's starting to. I'm from the DFW. I live in Alvarado, right next to Fort Worth in Dallas, and Houston's starting to become a little bit Democratic now. Republican stronghold has been holding strong, and the people here. I'm not joking. I wear a Trump hat everywhere I go, and I might get bad looks every now and then, but it's not like California or anywhere else where I got to watch my back and oh my goodness, these crazy liberals. Most of everybody that lives in Texas are diehard blue-collared Americans that love their country, love their state with a passion, and just care about people.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there is something quite unique about Texas, the people of Texas. When I was in Texas, I felt that. I always thought the people of New England, New Hampshire, love New Hampshire, you live free or die. But when it comes to state pride, I haven't been to a state yet that can outdo Texans. I'm being serious, and the love for Texas down there is just absolutely incredible. You're absolutely right. What I experienced was I've never experienced that kind of love of state before. It even outdoes
history.
the people here in New Hampshire. Well, yeah, well.
Every state's got their history, and I love the story of how Texas got founded and everything, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I love the 13 colonies is what really started America, and I love all the 13 colonies. But man, Texas, I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know.
I tell you what it is. It's like Alaska. People love Alaska too, almost as much as they love Texas. But Alaska, it has to do. They have frozen brains. But in Texas, it's just damn hot down there, dude. It's the heat.
It is.
They got heat stroke.
I'm telling you, I'm in a chemical suit right now, and it is super hot. The sun is breaking my balls. Let's see. Last year, September, I was down in McAllen, Texas. It was 95 degrees with like 95% humidity. That's not fit for man nor beast, in my opinion. But okay, it's beautiful countryside though. But hot is hot, and that was humid hot, and that was just no wonder everybody stays inside and has air conditioning. That was just ridiculous. But great people though. I guess hey. It's better than being up here in New England where you get 10 feet of snow and it's 30 below sometimes, literally. I guess I'll take that over being frozen. I'll take the heat over the snow and ice. You get used to it after a while, brother. You get used to it after a while.
Well, maybe. I'm originally from the Syracuse, New York area. And let me tell you, there are people that have lived in Atlanta, Georgia, all their life, and they're still not used to that hot mugginess. So I don't know if that's true, but we'll just say what you said is true about Texas. Texans are different; they get used to it. Got to run, my friend.
You take it easy, brother. Appreciate it.
Bye bye. I do look forward to going back to Texas soon. I may be down there before the year is out, so stay tuned on that one, folks.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? Then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong. And any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hay right.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5+2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Tuesday morning, we have the wonderful news out of Washington. I don't know if it's out of Washington directly, but it is, I guess it is somewhat directly out of Washington. From Fox News, more Obama officials are scrutinized an unmasking probe. Yes, a number of people thought to be involved in the alleged unmasking of American citizens under the Obama administration could be expanding, according to a source close to the House Intelligence Committee's review of the case. The source with knowledge of the review told Fox News the record suggests the unmasking goes beyond key officials like former National Security Advisor Susan Rice and former CIA Director John Brennan and former U.S. Ambassador to the UN Samantha Power. That's a lot of power there, people involved in this unmasking scheme. The source said more than half a dozen former senior Obama administration officials are now of interest to House committee investigators. Does this mean this whole thing with the Trump-Russian collusion thing might be coming to an end? Well, it might be. It might be forced to come to an end, considering now that we're starting to learn all this stuff about via the, maybe this is why Don Jr. let this stuff come out, his emails, because now we're starting to hear about the Ukrainian connection. And Ukrainians are known to because the Ukrainians they like the U.S., but they don't like Russia. And the Ukrainians are known to be able to put fingerprints on the fingerprints of Russia on a lot of different dastardly stuff. So in other words, the Ukrainians were framing the Russians. You could say it's wrong. You could say Ukrainians are evil. I wouldn't say they're evil. I'd say that the Ukrainians were desperate to get the U.S. to help them out in their time of need, and it didn't happen under the Obama administration. But now we have this wonderful Ukrainian Clinton connection thing that is starting to pop. Isn't this amazing? Every time we get something from a Republican, especially in the Trump administration, there's an equal something sinister coming out of the Obama or Clinton administration. I mean, so it's a tale of Wag the Dog. You remember that movie, Wag the Dog? So the source said more than half a dozen former senior Obama administration officials are now of interest to House committee investigators. Committee Chairman Devin Nunes of California issued subpoenas in May to the CIA, FBI, and NSA for records about the identification of American citizens in intelligence reports, also known as unmasking. So you can't unmask these people that way, I suppose. But that's what they did. In any case, we are really out of time for today, but we'll be back tomorrow in 21 hours or so. Tomorrow is the Intel Report as well, so don't miss it. Until then, have a wonderful Tuesday afternoon. If you're down in Texas, enjoy the hot, steamy weather. If you're everywhere else, hopefully you have comfortable weather. Until then, I'm Rod Eccles. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.